Alright guys, this is my artifact cheat sheet for set 14. Everything here is backed up by meta TFT stats, and some of these have already been tested by myself. For some of these units, I only put 1 or 2 because they're just that much better on those units. That obviously doesn't mean it's impossible to build some of these on other units, but for example, Fiddlesticks with Sniper Focus is by far the best user of Sniper Focus. That has the reason that he's targeting 3 units at the same time. So if you put him, for example, in the bottom left corner and he's hitting the front line, he can also reach as far as into the backline corners, giving him 10 hex range on his abilities. Obviously, the 90% damage amp from Sniper Focus, which is incredibly OP. So he's like by far the best user of this. So if you get Sniper Focus on Fiddlesticks, it's or like if you get Sniper Focus in general, you should just try to force Fiddlesticks. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. And obviously, for example, Wit's End can also go on pretty much any Ragebait users, but it makes just the most sense on Twisted Fate. And obviously, Lichbane is one of the items where getting a lot of mana from either your trait or having low mana cost in general is just good. These are like the units for it. Then we have a clump of like melee type units. All of these units use kind of the similar items here with Trinity Force, Mittens, and Prowlers. For the tank items like Innovating Locket, Cho'Gath, Nico, and Darius are really good. Darius obviously as a main tank then with the Syndicate bonus benefits a lot from this. And Cho'Gath obviously gets increased HP with every cast, which also has incredibly broken scaling on the Locket. For Horizon Focus, I didn't find too many good users. It's just mainly the frontline CC units. It doesn't look like there's a good backline for a unit for this in the current set, but yeah. And yeah, a bit more to the interesting items like Talisman of Ascension is really OP on Cho'Gath and Mundo. I'm not sure if it's broken on Fiddlesticks because Fiddlesticks is just super OP right now in general. This might change once Fiddle gets adjusted a bit, but he had incredible good stats, and I played it once as well and looked super good on him as well. Just because you play like a bunch of frontline and he has built-in healing, so if he procs Ascension ever, he just yeah, wipes the entire board and heals a lot as well. That's why you see Archangel being his best item as well, right? It works kind of like Talisman of Ascension. As far as range items go, like RFC and Sniper Focus, there aren't that many broken melee units this set. Like, we don't have a clear unit that uses these range items really well, like Nocturne in the last set. Graves benefits from range items in a way where he can change his targeting where he dashes to. He still dashes into melee range. I do want to put this as a disclaimer, but he obviously will have the enemy backline more often in his range, just because he has more range. So he can sometimes assassinate the backline, especially with fish bones. And yeah, Shaco is also pretty decent for the kind of similar reasons. Yeah, and then we have Seeker's Arm Guard, looks pretty good on Nidalee reroll whenever you are playing Nitro, so that makes a lot of sense. And Fiddle, obviously, again, anything that gives him more AP that goes into the fight or later into the fight is good. And Lightning Jewel is actually super OP on him as well, because he's dealing a lot of tick damage on a lot of units, so he's getting the enemy frontline on 0 MR quite quickly, especially because he has Magic Pen in his kit as well, so super OP. For Silvermare, we have actually a few candidates. We have Rengar, Nafiri, which are probably like the quite obvious choices. Obviously both like melee carries, so makes a lot of sense. But Darius actually has been performing really well with Silvermare as well, because he has built-in healing on the Syndicate. Again, you would put this item on Darius, make him solo frontline, and build around him as a carry actually. So it's gonna be interesting once I get my hands on Silvermare. I will do some further testing, but in the sets it looked super good. Something a bit more interesting as well is Shaco with Ludens. Shaco, for those who don't know, is always targeting the unit with the lowest health. So he is able to actually overkill his opponents by a lot. Like by a really lot. So if he's able to kill someone that's low HP and crit him for like 1k or 1.5k damage, which will happen a lot, he is dealing so much Ludens damage on top of that as well on the rest of the enemy team. So this is super, super OP, very underplayed. I sadly couldn't find any clips of this yet, but once I get my hands on this, I will for sure test it and make a video out of it as well. I think super, super underrated. It's just not very obvious. I think that's the reason why I haven't seen it yet. Veigar, obviously, does a ton of true damage on 3-star especially, can overkill a lot of his opponents, makes a lot of sense. Then for Gambler's Blade, we have obviously the 2 attack speed carries are both very good. I would say TF is a bit better than Wayne here, but Wayne can for sure work as well. But yeah, Gambler's nothing special. This is usually just like a tempo item that gives you some early game power. And if you open with either Wayne or TF as in your opener, this will be very good. And yeah, let's get to the last page here. We have Mana Zane, a lot of Mana Zane users in this set. Again, not sure if Fiddle will stay a good Mana Zane user. I can imagine he doesn't have the highest mana costs, but obviously he's just very OP right now, so I put him in there because he is working really well with Mana Zane, but this can change. But a lot of units with low mana costs are obviously performing really well. Jinx is actually surprisingly good with this item as well, because she can she gets an extra rocket for each cast, making her a lot stronger once she gets like 1 or 2 or 3 casts out. So yeah, having a Mana Zane is really, really nice. The other choices are quite obvious. I think you could also put Misfortune in here, which is also an okay choice. It's for sure good on her as well, but I didn't want to put more units, and she seemed like in the lower end of stats, so it's definitely viable on MF as well. Cho'Gath, Shyvana, and Neeko all benefit a lot from max HP because of their ability or trait. So it makes a lot of sense to put Anima on these, especially Shyvana. You can 3-star her, and like I mentioned before, Cho'Gath gets so much max health for each cast, making Anima just a super OP item on her. Yeah, then we get to Spectre Cutlass, our most favorite item. Obviously a positioning nightmare once your opponents get this item. But yeah, all the melee carries are doing really well with this. The executioner units are super, super good with this as well. I think one of the few ways to also play Naafiri as a carry. I haven't tried it myself, I'm gonna be honest, but it looked good in the stats, and it makes a lot of sense, right? Naafiri ends up in the backline and just has can take out a carry by himself. Yeah, the DFG users are just generic AP carries, right? Nothing special here. You could probably put some more units that are AP carries in here. I just didn't want to like put too many units in for one category. Here, no one that's like particularly OP with this, but a lot of units that are really doing well with this item. It's just an overall great item. Depth's Defiance, quite the similar story to all the other melee items, right? This could have gone in the category with these items as well. Yeah, just a good melee item. Makes a lot of sense on units that you can reroll as well, just because they have so much more base HP and more damage. So yeah. And Sejuani is actually the best user of Light Shield. This is another anomaly. She gains extra armor and MR on her passive. A lot of people don't know this. So putting this this Light Shield item on her is really good, just because her resistances are much higher than on other units, and then obviously she's a Bastion as well, giving her extra resistances. And then she's sharing the shield based off of her resistances, right? The Light Shield item has resistance scaling, so Sejuani, by far the best user. And in the early mid game, you would just put it on any Bastion, and they will do fairly well with this. And then later, you always want to play Sejuani, which is completely fine, just because she's a great unit. She's CC, a lot of tankiness, so fairly easy to fit in as well, with Renekton being a good 5 cost in the late game as well. So yeah, obvious choice here. And then we have the shield break item. Obviously, any unit that has some shielding is doing really well with this. Stuff like Braum, Neeko, Garen, Mordin, Skarner have all decent shields. I would say this is also a tempo item, so particularly interesting for 2 and 3 cost units. So Braum, Mordin, Skarner, like if you have one of those boxes, you for sure want to take this item as your first augment. Or like from your portable forge into one. So yeah, I think this is a really, really good item to tempo, and then late game you always put it on Garen, and since Garen can fit into any board, you never feel too bad about picking this item in set 14. So yeah, think that's it for me, guys. I hope you guys find this informative. I will link the tweet under this video so you guys can check out the 3 pictures. And yeah, let me know if I missed something or if you have some tech about some of these ORNN items. I think I covered most of them quite well. But yeah, if you have any other ideas, just let me know.